Hi, everybody. Welcome to WCAX. Starting a few minutes late today. Talking about a story here that our Calvin Cutler did. It's basically the ACLU is taking the Essex County Sheriff to court. That's over some situations with dealing with with Vermont's fair and impartial policing policy, especially regarding some immigration policing. Our Calvin Cutler was our guy here covering this one. Calvin, first of all, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, John.
Right. And jumping right into it here, kind of just run me through the situation of, allegedly Sheriff Trevor Colby, Essex County Sheriff, you know, in cahoots with federal law enforcement. That's what they're hearing, and it's over these public documents. So kind of dive right in that for me and tell me kind of what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a really interesting case. It's years in the making, and it has really big, current events and random ramifications right now in terms of the current political atmosphere. So it all really, for this specific case, it gets back to, I think it was last winter or so, back in like December of 2023, where Sheriff Trevor Colby was talking with a reporter from the UVM Community News Service, which is a program at UVM that writes stories, and they share it with newspapers across the state. And in that, he essentially said that he would consider, or he would not hesitate to call federal law enforcement if he had a traffic stop in rural Essex County, which borders the Canadian border, if he believed that potentially one of those people in that traffic stop was undocumented or was here illegally. And in that, the ACLU then read that story and was concerned that Sheriff Colby might be violating the state's fair and impartial policing policy, which was drafted several years ago, and it's gone over several iterations, created by the Criminal Justice Council, which sets standards and policies for law enforcement. But essentially, that says that it tries to reduce the amount of bias that
Yeah.
police have in their daily operations when dealing with race and also with immigration status, and says that police can't take immigration status into account. So the ACLU filed a public records request with Sheriff Colby seeking text messages, emails, documents, communications with ICE, with Border
Yeah.
Patrol, Homeland Security, and others. And since then, there's been a little bit of a back and forth, and it's been, he, said, we've got 50 pages that you can come pick them up at our office in Guildhall,
Yeah.
in Essex County, but they'd have to come pick them up in person as
Yeah.
opposed to sending them over or faxing them, that type of thing. And he and his legal team are arguing that there is no clarity in the public records, Vermont's public records law, saying that he is obliged to send them or fax them, just make them available.
Yeah, and you think that's again that's kind of where, that gray area is where you say, hey, I have these documents, you just have to come get them, and as far as Freedom of Information Act goes, I think you and I are a little maybe more familiar with how those FOIA requests work. You put a public records request in, and it's in within a reasonable amount of time, under reasonable circumstances, is typically how that works. But given today's day and age, you can scan a document on your phone, or you can scan it and email it, and that's kind of where that problem lies. But yeah, I guess my last point is, you know, I want to say what's next, but I don't know if we know what's next.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think, yesterday's hearing was essentially the Essex County Sheriff asking a judge to throw this case out, to dismiss
Yeah.
this case, basically saying that, the public records law is on their side. So we'll have to see where the judge will go with that. But I mean, this case is an important bellwether here because, depending on how whether the judge, how the judge rules in this case, and whether we do get these records or not, really will determine, what Vermont law enforcement potentially could look like in dealing with a incoming Trump presidency. We also
Yeah.
reported earlier this week, it's been widely reported that the Trump administration is looking at mass deportations.
Yeah.
We don't know, of illegal immigrants. We don't know what that policy will look like, who exactly they know. We know they want to start with people who've been charged or convicted of crimes. So they want to start there, but we don't exactly know what that deportation program will look like. But
Yeah.
it is fair to say, or it's not out of the question that government agencies like sheriff's offices, local
Yeah.
police, maybe even state police, others that have data and information on people living here in Vermont, it's not out of the question that they might be part of that program as mandated by the federal government. And so, really, what comes out of this case potentially could have implications for Vermont adhering to a policy, immigration policy under the Trump administration. And I think it's also worth noting too that getting back to the fundamentals of this case and why
Yeah.
Sheriff Colby told that reporter in the first place that he would potentially check immigration status. We've also reported recently that illegal crossings at the in the northern border of Vermont are spiking to, I mean, historic highs, really.
Yeah.
When you see the chart and the graph of people coming over, it's a bell
Yeah.
curve, or excuse me, it's a exponential curve. Looks like this,
Yeah.
and local law enforcement, sheriffs, border patrol, they say they are all overwhelmed and they can't keep up, and that's also raised concerns for some living in the Northeast Kingdom as well in these local communities. So I mean, it's a really difficult spot to be in.
Yeah.
You've got communities that are overwhelmed and are looking for safety and clarity. You've got law enforcement in the northern sector that is trying to adhere to current laws, but
Yeah.
as I spoke with a immigration expert earlier this week, it really gets back to the fact that our immigration system, in her words, is broken
Yeah.
and needs systemic reform.
No, and I know, especially yourself. You had the story about the border crossings a few weeks ago, and one on the farm workers being this week, and now, definitely, I more of an uncertain future in the next few months before the new administration comes in. So yeah, I can see the heightened attention to this, especially given that. So
Yeah, and it's worth noting too, some of this will be on, this is just one, this is a sheriff. He is an independently elected
yeah,
individual up in Essex County. I'll be curious to see whether other sheriff's office do this, and more importantly, what the state police, what the Scott administration, what their guidance to law enforcement will be as
yeah.
well when dealing with this. And that's something that I'm hoping to get some clarity on today at the governor's
Do
press
you think
conference.
this at all opens a door or sets precedents as far as what's to come? You know what I mean? Yeah,
It could. It
yeah,
very well could. And that's a question that we don't know.
yeah,
And it depends on really what these documents
yeah,
tell us, what this judge will do in this case. We don't know exactly what the timeline going forward for whether this motion to dismiss will be approved or not.
yeah.
But it's an interesting one for sure.
No, absolutely, Calvin. Thanks for coming by again. We'll play that in just a sec. People didn't catch it this morning, but look forward to seeing that, and of course any future reporting you have on this. But that in mind, we'll let you go. I know you're in the car, so
Thank you very much.
all right.
Take care.
See ya. Again, that was our Calvin Cutler there, just shedding some light on a story he recently did about the Franklin County Sheriff going to court with the ACLU. I'm seeing a thing about my experience on Zoom. I don't want that. All right. I'll play this for you in just a sec here.
Now, this lawsuit is narrowly focused on whether the Essex County Sheriff is required to share documents with the American Civil Liberties Union. But it's also taking on new weight, given the incoming Trump administration's promise to deport illegal immigrants. Last year, in an interview with a student-run newspaper, Essex County Sheriff Trevor Colby said he would likely call federal officials if he believed a suspect in a traffic stop was here illegally.
We became aware of reporting that attributed to Sheriff Colby statements that caused us real concerns.
The ACLU is concerned Colby is violating Vermont's fair and impartial policing policy, which prevents police from acting based on someone's immigration status. The ACLU requested 50 pages of emails between the sheriff and federal officials and took Colby to court when he refused to send the copies. Colby said the ACLU could inspect the records at his Guildhall office.
There is no requirement for public agencies to copy and send things to people if they don't want to.
But the ACLU contends the legislature intended for anyone to view the records.
For folks who cannot travel during the business day to go to the agency and pick up the records, it just means they can't exercise their rights under the Public Records Act.
The lawsuit comes amid a surge in migrants over Vermont's northern border and law enforcement and Border Patrol struggling to keep up. We've shown you concerns from neighbors in the Northeast Kingdom, the huge uptick in illegal crossings in people's backyards.
These records have become critically more important because of the outcome of the election.
Sheriff Colby's legal team did not address concerns from the ACLU that they may be coordinating with ICE or that state and federal laws are in conflict. But the ACLU believes that what is happening could only increase as the incoming Trump administration has pledged mass deportations of illegal immigrants.
In order to be successful, they would need local law enforcement to be eager participants in their mass deportation apparatus.
Tuesday's hearing centered around whether the judge should toss this case brought on by the American Civil Liberties Union. No word yet on when the judge will make a decision. Reporting in our Montpelier bureau, Calvin Cutler, Channel 3 News.
Of course, you can see Calvin's reporting on that story as well as others he's done on immigration in our area on WCAX.com. And Peter, today, as far as just today's weather goes, I feel like this is a cliche I should stop saying, but it's starting to feel like fall. But
yeah,
it is definitely colder out today.
Oh yeah.
I think we had a warm stretch a couple weeks ago.
I feel like the warm stretch just never ended. There was cool pockets in between, but then now we're really starting to look and feel like mid-November out there,
and the wind too.
Yeah,
the wind was crazy
yesterday especially. Yeah. The good news is that subsided. We don't have the cloud cover that we had yesterday as well. As a matter of fact, we'll show you on top of Mount Mansfield right now a pretty nice start to our Wednesday morning out there. Good amount of blue skies and sunshine, and we'll keep that going here as we head through the course of your day today. As a matter of fact, we got nothing but clear skies to speak of here on satellite and radar, and we're going to keep that going here. The winds, they've definitely diminished from where we were yesterday. Still got winds out of the north between about 5 and 15 miles per hour. It's not quite the gust of 30 to 35 miles per hour that we were talking at this time yesterday, but we are going to see that breeze kind of stick around here just a bit here through the course of the day today. Temperatures were in the upper 20s and 30s, so yeah, you're probably going to want to grab that jacket if you haven't stepped out the door already. Here's how the rest of the day shapes up. Plenty of blue skies, plenty of sunshine from sunrise to sunset here through the course of the day today. I do suspect right on the shores of Lake Champlain, there could just be a little bit more cloud cover in that direction, just thanks to the fact that we're talking about some warm water temps, but the cooler air temps that could result in just a bit more cloud cover. Really right on the shores of Lake Champlain. Elsewhere, though, I think we're talking plenty of sunshine. Into the night tonight, we'll keep the clear skies going. As a matter of fact, that's going to definitely help and contribute to a really chilly start to our day tomorrow morning. As a matter of fact, it does look like it'll probably be the chilliest start to the season thus far. But into the rest of your day on Thursday, not looking too bad. I think we start to see a few more clouds begin to filter in here and there as we head into the second half of the day tomorrow, though. In terms of the next big thing that we're keeping an eye on, at this point, it looks like it's Friday evening into Friday night when we could see maybe just a little bit of wintry mix. Really, the best chance of that going to be northern New Hampshire as well as the Northeast Kingdom. Notice how this model really keeps the bulk of it way off to our east, though, and I think more and more models are painting that same picture where most of us should stay primarily dry here. Friday night into the day on Saturday begins to back away once again, and really the bulk of the weekend should be primarily dry here as we head towards Saturday and Sunday. First layer forecast here for the rest of the day today. We'll talk daytime highs, mid to upper 30s and lower 40s out there. A sunny and cool day out there. Take a look at tonight. Clear skies, calm winds. We're going to fall back into the teens here for a lot of us, especially away from the Champlain Valley. Some of those usual cooler spots like the Adirondack Park dark, yeah, they could end up in the single digits here as we head towards tomorrow morning into the rest of your day on Thursday. The sunshine definitely helps to warm us back up as we climb back into the 40s here as we head towards tomorrow afternoon, and that's pretty close to where we should be for this time of year. Now look at that 7-day forecast again. The chance that a few wintry mixed precip showers Friday night and into the early morning hours on Saturday. As I've mentioned, the best chance at this time really looking to be northern New Hampshire as well as the Northeast Kingdom, but we'll keep an eye on that here as we head through the second half of this work week. The weekend not looking too bad, a mixture of sunshine and clouds. Temperatures in the mid to upper 40s. Think there is the chance of a few rain showers here as we head towards the start of next week. Temperatures upper 40s and lower 50s.
And before you know it, we're ending this week on the 19th, next Monday,
Yep.
around 20th. So wow.
Yeah.
This is
We are truly in mid-November now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think a couple weeks ago I was complaining about seeing, Christmas stuff in the store and all that. Now it's really time. It's
Now,
really,
now it's hard to believe, but we are rapidly approaching
Yeah.
that time. I feel like Halloween was just a few days ago, but
Yeah.
no,
Gone.
it was basically 2 weeks ago now.
yeah, I'm thinking now. We're what, 30? Oh, no, we're not. We're like 40 days away from Christmas.
Oh,
Trying to do the
oh
math.
boy, that's math I don't even want to think about.
It's not that far, long story short.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh,
I
I
mean,
get some gifts.
yeah, I mean,
Thought about that.
yeah,
Yeah,
quickly approaching.
yeah. Anyway, thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching WCAX. Of course, you can see Peter and I on Channel 3 News at noon.
Yep.
Peter's going to be back outside. Enjoy
Yep.
that.
Yep, you'll be back in the newsroom.
I know. Well, at least I have heat.
I know, actually.
So-
Yesterday outside, I went out there. I go out there just a bit early because,
to set up. Yeah.
just set up. You want to make sure they can see you up in the control room and hear you. And the breeze at times, it was like, whoa! I should not
Yeah.
have come out early.
Yeah. But we'll be back here at noon. Of course, you can see all of our content on WCX.com, our evening shows. You guys know the drill.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Peter.